Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, guests, and friends. I am Becky Fields, and it is my honor as president of this great club to welcome you to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. We are so pleased that you chose to connect to Rotary today, and as you know, that is our theme this year. And Rotary connects us to people who might not be exactly like us, that might not have the same past experience as us, and that might not look like us. And it connects us to people that we may have never met otherwise, which is amazing. And it reminds me of a quote that I heard and that I love, and it says, "When I see you through my eyes, I see how we are different. But when I see you through my heart, I see how we are the same." And I think as Rotarians and as agents of change in our community and in our world, it is our job in this ever-fragmented world that we live in to be the ones that go ahead and that bind people together and that connect us as individuals. So let's begin our program with invocation, song, and pledge from past President Matt Davis, visitor introductions from past President Bob Sade, and new member introduction by Jim Campos.
Will you bow your heads, please? Lord, we pause at this busy summertime of vacations, time off from work, and special time with family to give thanks for our many blessings and to lift up those who are less fortunate. We particularly pray for those of limited financial means to whom suffering with illness takes on a whole new meaning. We pray for the dignity of every person and for the hard work of those in the medical profession who strive to provide a long, healthy life to all Tulsans, regardless of background. We pray for our country's leaders that they may always be aware of the needs of the less fortunate. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Join me in God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we are always excited to have guests join us. At this time, I'm going to ask the guest and their host Rotarian to stand briefly when I call your name, and we will hold our applause until all have been introduced. Scott Philstrip brought his guest, Malon Pitt. Oh, in the back, okay. Jerry Barrientos brought Michelle Jensen. Cindy Salter has 3 guests, Patty Harwell, Donna Chain, and Heather Buffington. Tom Wolf has 2 guests, Heather Tedford and Pamela Lindley. Jim Campos has Cindy Fugit. Tiffany Egdorf has 3 guests, Tim Dombrow, Russ Kirkpatrick, and Marcus Abernathy. And last but not least, we have the guest name is Cindy, and she is the wife of the former president, who has not been here for a long time, Rod Sands. And Rod, turn around so everybody can see what's on your face. And we assume Cindy likes that, right? I hope. We have one visiting Rotarian who hopefully will be a member of our club soon. And he's also a guest of Luann Buehlinger, and that's Keith Elder. Hi, Keith. Thank you. Come back and see us.
It's my privilege to introduce John J. Foley. John J. Foley was referred to us by Kip Lemkin. So thank you for bringing John to us today.
Jay, go by Jay.
Okay. Jay Foley is president and CEO at Cancer Treatment Center of America, CTCA, Tulsa. Possessing over 30 years of leadership experience and expertise in operations, logistics, and Lean Sigma, Jay joined CTCA in June 2010 as Vice President of Marketing and Patient Experience. He later served as Vice President of Oncology, Patient Services, and Chief Operating Officer. Prior to joining CTCA, Jay had an extensive career in the travel industry, most recently serving as Chief Operating Officer of Dollar Thrifty Automotive Group. Jay also served in the Alaska Army National Guard as an airborne medic assigned to a long-range reconnaissance unit. He holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Business Administration from St. Michael's College and completed an executive MBA program at the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. Jay served as chair of the board of St. Edmund's Retreat in Mystic, Connecticut for 15 years. He serves on the board of directors for the Oklahoma State Chamber, the Tulsa Regional Chamber, and the Tulsa Area United Way, and is chair-elect for the Tulsa Habitat for Humanity Board of Directors. He is a member of the Leadership Tulsa Class 53, and serves on the LT board. LT 15. Jay and his wife, Nita, were co-chairs of the 2016 American Heart Association Go Red for Women campaign in Tulsa. Jay and Nita have 4 children. He enjoys traveling with family, playing golf, working on home improvement projects, and being an avid, I was going to stick OU fan, but I'm just going to leave it, avid sports fan. Please help me rise and welcome Jay Foley.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. We are so excited to have you in our club. And also a special thanks to this week's sponsors. We have several of them. We're very appreciative of you. Moody's Jewelry, we have Kevin Moody. With Hall Estel, we have John O'Connor, Daniel Ketchum, and Tom Klinda. With Ameritrust, we have Harvey Rowe. With Yale Cleaners, we have Bill Rothrock and John Rothrock. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. In other announcements, we have a Crescendo Music Awards grants meetings upstairs right after Rotary, room 233. And in upcoming programs, next week we will have Hal Smith, and we all know and love his restaurants. Be sure to invite a guest next week because I heard through the grapevine through some programs that there may be some gift cards or some kind of prizes next week. Sorry if I spoiled the surprise, but make sure and bring some visitors. And then the next week on August 8th, we'll have U.S. Representative Kevin Hearn. Jan Laub couldn't be with us today, but the Service Above Self Committee is sponsoring their first volunteer activity of the year, and she asked me to remind you that there is still time to sign up. Next week is the Beep World Series Baseball. held here in Tulsa. It's been held all around the world. We'll have teams coming in from all over the world, and this is an adaptive baseball game for the visually impaired, blind, and low vision. It is a really, really neat program, and we are so excited that the Sports Commission called us specifically and said, hey, Rotarians, we know that you like to do good in the world. Will you please come help with this program? And so, of course, we said yes. And so we need your support now. In the Monday message that you received this week, there is a link to sign up. You just go right in there and sign up, and give Jan Lobb a call if you have any questions, but there are some more openings, so make sure and get signed up for that. It will be a great time and very, very rewarding. As I said earlier, our Rotary theme this year is Rotary Connects the World. And I wanted to tell you a few ways and just share with you a few ways that we can connect with the world, even from here in Tulsa. And as you know, we do great things here in Tulsa. We've given millions of dollars and millions of hours to our wonderful city. But Rotary is an international organization, and that means that we have opportunities to reach around the world. And so recently, whenever I was in Hamburg, Germany, a few weeks ago, I was able to hear about some stories of how we are affecting lives around the world, and I wanted to tell you about two of those today. One of those is in Haiti, and 91% of women in Haiti deliver their children at home. And so they had a very, very, in fact, the highest in the Western Hemisphere, a very high infant mortality rate, and then also harm to mothers. And so Midwives for Haiti organized themselves, and they would set up mobile units where they would go around and give care through these midwives to the Haitian residents. One of the biggest problems that they had, though, was that they couldn't get to a lot of the rural areas in Haiti, and a lot of the women couldn't get to the mobile clinic. They were, after all, 8, 9 months pregnant trying to traverse rocky terrain. And so, like Rotarians do, instead of reinventing the wheel and trying to come up with some new thing, we go into communities and we say, what do you need? How can we partner with you in what you need? And they said, honestly, we just need a way to get back into the rural areas. And so the Rotarians said, what about a Jeep? A Jeep Wrangler, could we set you up with that? So as you can see, here's the Midwives for Haiti's vehicle that Rotary sponsored through our Rotary International Giving. And since the time that this has been introduced, infant mortality rates have dropped by 50% in just the last 5 years. So I want to show you a little bit of a video just so you can see the work that we're doing there in Haiti.
Many women have told me they've come from quite a far distance, an hour, even a couple hours of walking. But women seem to really be drawn to having someone just do a quick assessment of them and feel their belly and hear the baby's heartbeat and hear that everything is going well. Being able to have someone say, yes, your health is important to us, and women are more likely to seek care when they've had care in pregnancy. Because of the Jeep, we're going to be able to run these mobile clinics to include places like Dela Grande that we haven't been able to go to because of distance. The plan is that once a month, women will be able to be seen in these far-reaching places.
And in another remote area of the world, a young girl by the name of Thedo noticed a problem in her village in Africa. And I got to hear her speak up on the world stage this year because she was actually found by Bill Gates, and he said she's a young entrepreneur to watch, and I would have to agree. She gave a very resounding, convincing plea for her company and what they're doing. And at the age of 17, she saw a need in her African village. What was happening is each child was given one candle to take home every week so they could do their homework during the week by candlelight. However, if that candle ran out during the week, by the end of the week, they weren't able to see to do their homework. Thus, they were falling behind in school. And she said this should be an easy enough problem to fix. And so she and her friends set about figuring out how to do a solar-powered backpack like you see on the screen. And what she did is she and 7 friends went and collected plastic bags from all the rubbish piles, and upcycled those into what you see as those backpacks. And then she attached a solar panel to the top of that, so when the children walked to school every day, 1 and 2 miles, as most of them do, the solar power gets ignited and does all the scientific things that it does and captures the energy, and then by the time they get home that night, she gave them a jar, and they screw that solar panel onto the jar, and they have solar light for the entire evening, able to finish their homework. This is from a 17-year-old girl in a small village in Africa that does not have the resources that we do. Thankfully, she was found by Bill Gates and brought to Rotary. Of course, we were excited to help and have partnered with her through Rotary International. So what does that mean to us here in Tulsa? So of course, our club dues, our Rotary International dues, go to underwrite some of the operating costs for Rotary International. But what can we do above and beyond that? There is a program that many of us know about, but honestly, I've never signed up for. It's called Every Rotarian Every Year, and you've got a little flyer on your table. And what I love about these stories and what I love about Every Rotarian Every Year is that as a little girl, I kind of always saw myself, I was going to be a missionary, I was going to go help in third world countries, and I didn't end up doing that. But I can still help from here in Tulsa for a very, very small amount. So all that Rotary International asks us to do is every Rotarian contribute $100 to the Rotary Foundation every year. And that goes towards projects just like this and thousands of others, because there are people like Thedo and the midwives in Haiti that have the great idea. There are boots on the ground. They have a program that's already working, and for a mere $100 a year that typically we wouldn't even notice, it will make a lasting impact for them. And so what Every Rotarian Every Year just asks you to do is to either sign up through an ACH, through an automatic debit from your account for $10 a month, or if you want to give a one-time gift of $100 every year, that's fine as well. And the reason I'm bringing it up to you here, I'm sure you see all the emails and the magazines that come out, but I'll be honest with you, I filled this out at the Atlanta Convention, and that was 3 years ago. And I had every intention of coming back and helping people like Thedo and helping the midwives in Haiti. But I got back to the United States in my cushy home and in my cushy car and in my cushy job with air conditioning and forgot about it, honestly. And this has been on my desk, moving around from pile to pile for 3 years now. While it could have been helping programs like that, and I would not have noticed that $10 a month just going every single month to programs like this. So what our goal is we have about 20 people who already give to this, so thank you so much for just doing it on your own. But what I'd love to see is for 50 people to commit today to join me in sending these in. So they're on your table, and at the end I'll tell you what we're going to do with them. But if you'll fill them out right after the meeting, we'll have you give them to the staff, and I'll remind you at the end. But I just really wanted you to go ahead, and if it's on your heart, and I know you all give in a lot of different ways, so if this is not for you, no problem. I know that you're giving in other ways, but if this is on your heart, that this is something that you would like to do in your giving plan, then we would appreciate it if you would just do it today while it's fresh on your mind, while you have the thought to do it, and see how many lives we can change through the Rotary International Foundation that we have. So at this time, I would like to turn over the side mic to Tana, our Sarge. How are you this week, Miss Tana? Are you good?
So good. How are
Wonderful.
So I was told when I talk to you, I need to move the mic.
Oh,
I'm thinking
okay.
about getting one of those headsets.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be fun, right? I have to hold this and hold a mic. Yeah, I just don't know. Okay, so we're going to get right into it today with fines because you guys are amazing. And, you know, Rod came today and everything. So we're just going to jump right into Sarge fines. Double clock and a Rip Flair or something? Okay. There you go.
Is that actually you? Is that actually, kind of from here it looks like you, is it not?
The Rock's body
Oh,
with
okay.
my head.
I don't know. I don't know from your angle if it looks like her.
Does it
but
look
from
like
my
me?
angle, it looks like her.
I've really been doing some heavy lifting. All right, Jerry Bates, are you in the house? Thank you, Jerry. He is donating $100, 50 for the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, and 50 to honor 5 Riverfield students that won a NASA App Development Challenge and a 5-day expenses-paid trip to NASA for the Ascent Abort 2 launch on July 2nd.
Wow.
So this is the group that they're about to enter the International Space Station Processing Facility, one of the many activities and behind-the-scenes tour NASA provided during their visit. Thank you, Jerry. And now we all know why Rod rolled out today. Thank you so much, Rod. $250. Here's what it's going towards. 38 years in Rotary, 53 years of marriage on August 6th. Congratulations. 72 years old for Cindy's birthday and 73 years old for him back in March, plus 14 to round up. I'm glad you could make it. It was iffy. Thank you, Rod. All right, next up is Kyden Creek Palm. Kyden's here. Thank you, Kyden. He is donating 40, saying that I'm only turning 38, but I'm mentally beginning the process of accepting that 40 is right around the corner. I'm right there with you, right there with you. This is his wife, LaShawn, and his 2 daughters, Zella and Cicely. And he sent this picture in that I just wanted to post because I don't know that I've ever smiled like that at my desk. I saw that picture and I was like, this is the greatest smile I've ever seen. He is running for State Senate District 35 in 2020 as a former 2-time Crescendo Music Award winner and current Crescendo Committee Chair. He says, I'm probably the first political candidate in state history to include a video of himself playing Chopin. Is that right? Okay. I had to Google that. I'm not cultured. I don't even know what that is. I was like, Chopin? Oh man, I gotta look this up on his campaign website. So thank you. And then I thought to myself, this is what I look like at my desk. I don't know what you do every day, but that's what I do every day. Thank you, Kaiden, and the pictures were amazing. Barney James, his birthday, July 26th, $100. Is Barney here? Yeah, Barney. Prepare yourself, sir. So a little birdie. Oh, no. All right. I don't know. You can't see it because it's not big enough, but there's Barney standing with his family pack behind 2 kids with a cart full of fireworks on the 4th of July. And Barney, since you didn't give me any pictures to put up here, this is what I'm using. And so it's kind of like what's going on in Barney's head. And I think he's thinking, oh, this is what theirs is going to look like. And then this is what I'm going to look like. I was crying. That's so funny. Sparklers are too scary. Thank you, Barney. And if you're wondering, Ed made me do it. That was all Ed, not me. Tommy Lynn Segrist. Okay, I wrote this down, Tommy Lynn. She wanted to donate $50 to announce the birth of her 2nd grandchild, Estelle Segrist, born July 23rd. She joins her sister Rosemary, mom Kristen, and dad Clay. Granny Lynn celebrates again. Congrats, Tommy Lynn, and thank you so much. All right, so we are going to start a fundraiser in August. So I just kind of wanted to give you a little teaser. If you want to do it today and send them today, that's great. But what we're going to do is we want you to go out, take your photo at the Be the One statue. You can text your picture or email me up there, or you can get on DACDB and get my information. We'll post to the Rotary Facebook and Instagram. Whoever gets the most likes and shares will win. Tell them what they've won. I don't know yet. I'm going to come up with that. I'll let you know August. Prizes will be announced August, and the winner will be announced September 4th. So go out there, take your picture, submit it, like and share. If you want to donate or you want to celebrate birthday, anniversary, anything that's going on in your life, email me or call me. Happy Wednesday, Rotary Club of Tulsa.
Thanks, Tana. I love that sassy picture of Brenda. Did you guys notice that? That was Brenda Melancon, our model, our model, Brenda. I am so pleased to get to introduce our guest introducer for Mayor Savage. A native Tulsan, Jerry Goodwin is a Director of Communications at Morton Comprehensive Health Services, one of the state's largest community health systems. He is also President of Goodwin and Grant, a public relations and diversity communications company headquartered in Tulsa. Additionally, Goodwin is Assistant Professor in the Digital Media and Mass Communications Department at Tulsa Community College and a former Adjunct Professor in Marketing at the Center for Entrepreneurial Studies and Research at Langston University. He teaches courses in business, advertising, marketing, media, news writing, public relations, and speech, among other subjects, which I'm assuming is time management because this is a lot. You're getting a lot done. This is amazing. In addition to his teaching responsibilities, he serves as faculty advisor to the TCC Connection, the award-winning college newspaper at TCC. Prior to his current positions, he was a third-generation newspaper publisher, where he served as associate publisher of the Oklahoma Eagle newspaper, the state's oldest minority-owned newspaper, and is currently a member of its board of directors under publisher James O. Goodwin, Esquire, his father. Please help me welcome Jerry Goodwin.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fields. In introducing to you Mayor Savage, and I would, if I were just to take a survey, how many of you do not know who Mayor Savage is? Well, so the idea is that that was one of the greatest challenges. I'm going to introduce someone that everyone already knows. But in presenting to you today, one of the best and well-known individuals here in our community, I thought of this quote by Art Hoppe, a noted journalist and columnist with the San Francisco Chronicle for about 40 years. He said, "I hope that my achievements in life shall be these. First, that I will have fought for what was fair and right. Secondly, that I will have risked for that which mattered. Thirdly, that I will have helped give to those who were most in need. And lastly, that I will have left the earth a better place for what I've done and who I've been." In my introductory remarks, I'd like to focus on what Mayor Savage has done and who she has been. As many of you know, she was elected as mayor of the city of Tulsa in 1992, becoming the first woman mayor, and then for a decade thereafter, serving now as the longest mayor of our great city of Tulsa. When she ended her term at the city, she then went on to become Secretary of State for Governor Brad Henry from 2003 to 2011. As many of you know, she's recognized throughout the world, throughout this nation, for her leadership in public service, organizational management, and other areas. She currently is serving as Chief Executive Officer of Morton Comprehensive Health Services, again, as Ms. Fields said, one of the largest community health centers here in our state. In addition to that, during her term as mayor, she was recognized as one of the 25 mayors to watch. by Newsweek magazine. As many of you know, she served as Secretary of State, as I mentioned earlier, under Governor Brad Henry, and the list goes on and on in terms of her accomplishments. And I would suggest that Mayor Savage, you're probably busier today than you were when you served as mayor, in light of so many of the accomplishments and achievements that you are embarking upon. So that's a little bit about what she has done. Who has she been? As you know, for a quarter of a century of her 40 years, she served as mayor of the city of Tulsa. In addition to her distinguished leadership in the civic and the nonprofit arenas, Mayor Savage has shared her insight and experience in the halls of higher education as a faculty member, lecturer, and presenter. She has participated in programming at Harvard University and at the University of Oklahoma, teaching at two of University of Oklahoma's colleges, the College of International Studies and the College of Architecture, on the topics of leadership, public policy, public finance, community planning, and strategic initiatives, among others. In her role as CEO of Morton Comprehensive Health Services and previously as head of its foundation, raising millions of dollars for the health center, Mayor Savage has expanded Morton's visibility, financial strength, and programmatic flexibility to provide critical services and to meet the vital needs of the residents of northeastern Oklahoma. Now that's about what she again has done. Let me share with you what I believe she has been to me, and I think to countless others here in this community. It reminded me of the story of the starfish. Many of you may recall that story reads where there is an individual walking along the beach, which thousands of starfish have been washed up during a terrible and torrential storm. When she came to each beautiful and astonishing starfish, she would pick it up and throw it back into the ocean. People watched her with amazement and astonishment. She had been doing this for some time when a man approached her and said to her, "Why are you doing this? Look at this beach. You can't save all these starfish. You can't begin to make a difference." The woman seemed crushed, suddenly deflated, but after a few moments, she bent down and picked up another starfish and hurled it as far as she could into the ocean. Then she looked up at the man and replied, "Well, I made a difference to that one." I am one of those starfishes that Mayor Savage touched nearly 25 years ago. At that time, when she served as mayor, she appointed me to the city of Tulsa, Rogers County, Port of Catoosa, where I was the youngest to be named at that time and the first African American. Today, I serve on that board 25 years later as the oldest member to serve on that board, having the opportunity to serve with then Mayor, our former, I'm going blank now, Mayor Hughley, Jim Hughley, how could I forget, Ed Keller, Barbara Gartner, and a host of others, John Stewart, and just a who's who in our community. For me and for countless starfishes and Tulsans that Mayor Savage, you have touched and made a difference in our lives, I thank you. I hope one day, by the life that you have lived and continue to share with countless others, that in the words of Art Hoppe, I will leave the board a better place for what I've done and what I've been. At this time, please join me in welcoming to the podium Morton Comprehensive Health Services Chief Executive Officer and former Mayor of the City of Tulsa, Susan Savage.
Thank you very much, Jerry. I think I'm going to save those remarks for my obituary because I'm pretty humbled by that. And I'm looking out at this audience and have already seen so many longtime friends. And then here's Kaiden Creekpalm running for state senate. His mother taught my children at Lee Elementary, which is now, what is Lee's new name? Council Oak, thank you. So I am very appreciative of the opportunity to be here. I'm a third-generation Tulsan, so to bring some perspective on where I am situated at this point in my life and career is really a privilege. So thank you very much. And I must say I've always been struck by the four-way test, Rotarian test, because I think its principles can and really should be a guide for how public policy decisions are made, as well as a framework for how we conduct our own lives. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I must say, especially on a day when the Mueller hearings are underway, that I found political office, both elected and appointed office, offer daily challenges to those principles, as do most things in life. Government policies and programs are always changing as leadership changes. However, it remains core to the essence of government service, of public policy, and of the lives we lead. Knowing the facts, speaking the truth, preserving one's integrity and one's reputation are individual responsibilities and must be pursued and upheld by individual action. So the challenges today in our communities, because in Oklahoma, as across the United States and the world, we're undergoing fundamental changes, and you heard some of them referenced just in terms of how we connect to the rest of the world. But due to demographic shifts in our community, we have a mosaic of cultures, of languages, races, religions, and socioeconomic conditions, all of which enhance the fabric of life in Tulsa and in our state. Technological advances substantively are changing the ways in which people live, work, communicate, and recreate. I'm reminded of the very first cell phone I had in the 90s when I served as mayor. It was about the size of a lunchbox. And we all have the handheld devices now, and during the course of these remarks, you can Google anything you want. You can do your banking, text your children or your office, watch television, or prepare for what the afternoon may bring. So technology has fundamentally changed and continues to change. Globalization, new forms of governance, intense competition for natural and human resources, environmental challenges, the need for ongoing investment in core and safety net services, and e-commerce used to be pretty simple to define, but all of those factors come to bear on society and on a world that is quickly changing, rapidly transforming, and requires the best of our thinking. So let me share some data about where we are in Oklahoma, especially as it pertains to health and the welfare of our individual citizens. The 2019 Kids Count data book released by the Annie E. Casey Foundation ranked Oklahoma 45th for education and 43rd for health among our 50 states. Roughly 1 in 5 children in Oklahoma live in poverty, and according to the report, also live where serious racial and ethnic disparities persist. Oklahoma has made major progress reducing teen pregnancies and reducing the child uninsured rates, but the teen birth rate is still the 3rd highest in the nation. The child uninsured rate is around 8%, which is the fourth highest share of children without health insurance in the United States. The Commonwealth Fund scorecard on State Health System Performance 2019 reports that access and affordability of health care in Oklahoma is 49 out of 51. The state's rankings for adults aged 19 to 64 who are uninsured is 50th. Oklahoma is 45th in the nation for infant mortality, which affects minority populations disproportionately, 4th in the U.S. for children who are overweight or obese. Substance use is among the highest in the nation, and while opioids are the current focus, alcohol, methamphetamine, and heroin use remain seriously undertreated problems. Mental health disorders, high rates of incarceration, high rates of homelessness, high rates of childhood adverse experiences in our community and across the state are major contributors to poor health outcomes. Oklahoma incarcerates more women than almost any other place in the world, and according to our current Commissioner for Mental Health, Terry White, 65 to 70% of those women who are incarcerated have a diagnosed mental health issue. The snapshot is offered not to depress you, but to relate the magnitude of the challenges that hit us right here at home as we work to improve, and we must work collectively to improve the health and well-being of life among our citizens and across the state. And there are remarkable innovations occurring in Tulsa as a laboratory for others to replicate. If you examine the enormous investment of Tulsa's philanthropic community, its faith community, business community, government, civic clubs, grassroots organizations, the United Way, and individual investments, one spirit is lifted. Without question, in my mind, these are relevant and effective avenues through which citizens are engaging and using their resources to improve lives and to create resilient and sustainable communities. And Tulsa stands as a leader in our state. So allow me to focus just for a moment on one of the best solutions to many of the health and community challenges I outlined above, Morton Comprehensive Health Services. Its very story, its very beginning is one of resilience, evolution, and the value added of resource investment. Morton has its roots in the establishment, Morton's has its roots in the 1921 race massacre, following which there was the establishment of the Maurice Willows Hospital to serve the victims of this tragedy, established by the City of Tulsa and the American Red Cross. For decades, this facility and its many iterations was the only place where people of color could receive medical care in segregated Tulsa. The hospital became Moton, then an ambulatory clinic over time, and renamed to Morton. And now Morton is what is known as a federally qualified health center, which means under federal law, Morton can compete and qualify for grants to provide health care to citizens in underserved areas. It's not a federal agency, it just has access to federal money, and must meet ongoing federal standards for full scope primary care and ancillary services for all who are served. Morton is now a United Way agency, a Joint Commission accredited agency with more than 50 government, business, academic, and philanthropic partnerships. As a system of 6 clinical sites, which includes its main location, a beautiful facility built from Vision 2025 funds, we have a clinic that is solely for the homeless, embedded with the Salvation Army, a clinic embedded with Family and Children's Services, a West Health Center embedded with the Tulsa Housing Authority in the Sandy Park addition, an East Health Center located in, just east of Garnett on 21st Street, and a rural clinic in Nowata, all serving patients with more than 40,000 patient encounters annually across our system. Primary care, prenatal care, pediatrics, family medicine, OBGYN, optometry, dental care, behavioral health and substance abuse, WIC programs, a low-cost pharmacy, and a cornerstone of Morton's operations is transportation system. I think the video that we saw earlier pointed out very well what happens when you create access through transportation means to health care. Morton's main clinic is a 55,000 square foot building which sits in one of the areas of Tulsa with the greatest health disparities among all our zip codes. About 10 to 15 years ago, the Lewin Report issued a listing of all the zip codes in Tulsa with great health disparities. Morton is one of them. Those health disparities have been reduced from 14 years of a shorter lifespan to 11 years. But I live 5 miles to the south from Morton, just as the crow flies. My life expectancy is 11 years longer than someone who lives in Morton zip code. That's unacceptable to our community. We're a designated teaching health center, so we do training for medical residents from OSU, PA students, nurse practitioners, nursing students, dental students, and optometry students. And why is all of this important as we talk about how we come together as a community, how we form connections, how we create an environment for problem solving? It's because every problem requires an investment, requires resources, requires innovation, access to services, and partnerships. I want to describe two partnerships that Morton has that I think are so innovative and reflect how we connect on a community-wide basis. Of the top 5 health conditions in the state of Oklahoma, in Tulsa County, diabetes, obesity, COPD, heart disease, high cholesterol. Those are the top 5. Diabetes is one of the most insidious diseases. It impacts everything from your heart care to your foot care. In partnership with the Tulsa Community Food Bank, who is our nutritional partner, we are their medical partner, the George Kaiser Family Foundation, we have created a program where we have now already touched 200 patients where once they are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, they have an option to enter our program funded by the George Kaiser Family Foundation, where if they sign an agreement to take responsibility for their health, we will educate them about diabetes, provide them their medication, provide them their insulin, provide them their supplies, and pay their copays during the course of the year. These are uninsured patients. It's a great, we're already seeing an impact of a pilot project that just began in March. We're seeing over 200 patients whose A1C level is lessening. That's an example of how we leverage resources in a community to have a broader impact on health outcomes. The other example I want to share just very briefly is a behavioral health grant that we have with the Zero Family Foundation. And the Zero Foundation is taking a look at healthy minds, because we know in our state the impact of mental health on everything we do exists. In addition to having integrated behavioral health with our primary care, we are now funded to serve those people who are diagnosed with mental health problems, behavioral health needs, who don't have the insurance to pay for it, and our insurance in most cases won't pay for it, up to 6 sessions. This is having a tremendous impact on population health. Our Governor Stitt has said, and I was pleased to see that Congressman Hearn is soon to be a speaker here, because he's made a visit to Morton, as has Senator Lankford, and both of whom were very impressed with the cost benefit of what happens within community health centers as far as ensuring that people have access to health. I think I maybe overlooked our transportation system, and I want to make sure that I don't do that, but we provide transportation to anyone who needs it, who is a registered Morton patient. But I want to go back to Governor Stitt, because Governor Stitt has established a goal that Oklahoma should be top 10 in all things we do. And just at a meeting this week, we heard from his Deputy Secretary of Health about some of the plans the governor has or is considering for how we look at health outcomes in the state, and how we look at models to expand the impact of the resources we have available. There are those who are, and I include myself in that, strongly supporting the expansion of full Medicaid for the uninsured as one of the solutions. And I think that we will find, and I'm not here to make a political speech, but there is a cost benefit, and the governor wants to look at that, and we're very eager to help him do the cost benefit necessary for that. So for community leaders, partnerships and collaboration make complete sense, but oftentimes are more difficult than logic would suggest. I think sometimes the partisan rhetoric and rancor that's present in today's policy discussions is discouraging, and it can create disengagement and an increasing lack of interest among all of our age groups, but especially those who should be voting and preparing to be our next generation of leaders. For any of us who have served as elected officials or in volunteer roles, to find common solutions to tough problems requires firsthand engagement. And we know, as a longtime friend of mine once said, great communities don't just happen, they are built. Few, if any, public policy issues are political, I would maintain. I was often known to say sanitary sewers are not partisan issues. You either have them or you don't. And if you don't, you darn sure want them. And you want your leaders to do something about them. That's how I view most of the problems we wrestle with on a partisan basis. All of our children need to be educated. Everyone needs access to health care. All of our citizens need to feel safe. All of us need to invest in those opportunities to make those things happen. In closing, and I think I have a couple of minutes left for questions, I want to share with you the words from the 1924 Tulsa Plan, which speak loudly, have always spoken loudly to me, but I think speak as loudly today as they did then. And I quote, "Your city, its growth, enterprise, cleanliness, beauty, and prosperity is your responsibility. Are you working at it? A city like a tree grows as it is trained, straight or crooked. If selfishness dominates it, it will not thrive and no one will love it. If generous men and women with vision are its cultivators, it will grow and flourish, and the stranger at its gates will enter and ask for a chance to work for it." Thank you. Certainly willing to take a few questions if there are any. Yes, Tiffany.
I'm blessed to have health insurance, but as an insured person, may I also access the services and the things that work?
Absolutely, and thank you for saying that. Often 40 to 50% of the patients we serve have no health insurance, but we take all forms of insurance. We love insurance because it helps us. It does help us pay the bills. I mean, we're not a free clinic, so you've got to offset those costs. So great question. Thank you for allowing me to clarify that. Yes? Yes. We have actually an entire outreach department of which Jerry is key to that. So we participate with health fairs, but we will also pick up patients and bring them to any one of our clinical sites wherever they seek to go. So short answer to that is yes. We don't have a clinic there, but we have several within about a 5-mile radius to which we can take anyone. So short answer is yes. Thank you all very much. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Morton's budget is about $16.5 million, and our resources for that we receive in grants from the federal government, about $5 million. We receive in private grants about $1 to $2 million. That can vary. We receive in patient revenue the balance of that. So it's a constant juggling. I would say between patient revenue and the cost of service, we still have a gap in order to pick up the cost of the uninsured, and it averages out to about $150 per dollar of patient revenue. So we are always filling the gap through efficiencies, through partnerships. For example, in our diabetes program, the food bank provides us with all of the food for our patients who are in that program. I just met this morning with Rose Washington from the Tulsa Economic Development Commission. They're going to open a grocery store in one of the food deserts in North Tulsa and in West Tulsa. The investor in that is very interested in a medical partner who potentially would prescribe healthy foods as part of a treatment plan. So we're exploring that possibility. We look for ways to innovate, to stretch, and our partners are at every level of government and throughout the community. Yes?
Do you work with Hillcrest, St. John, St. Francis, and if you do, how?
Yes. The question was, do we work with the hospital systems? Yes, we do. With Hillcrest, for example, we have We have a breast screening program for especially geared to uninsured minority women who are at very high risk. But we're also available to anyone. So we can do screening mammograms. If the radiologist sees a problem through the Project Woman program at Hillcrest, they will take referrals from Morton for breast health purposes for that population of women. With St. John, we do and work in a contractual way with them through to transport their patients. We have our transportation system serves them, so they help cover the costs to transport their particular patients. And we work very closely with their foundation and many of their management for common goals in community health. And St. Francis is now collaborating with the City County Health Department and with Morton to look at how we get community health workers out into some of these zip codes with great disparities. We're providing the office space and the technology for that. The health department is bringing in some community health workers who are not medical people, but they will go out into the community and will provide primary care, and St. Francis is our financial partner. So, and then we have 2 OSU medical students, so who are doing their residency at Morton. We are a teaching health center. So lots going on. It's a great resource for the community and one of the most innovative ways to address the challenging problems. I'm often reminded, I was in a meeting, I think I mentioned this to Jerry just earlier, or it was last week, the end of last week, where everyone in that room, with the exception of me, wasn't even alive for Apollo 11 moon landing. Yikes. So that was a pretty definite reminder that not only am I part of and have been for a long time, the graying of America, but I've been around a long time, so, and have seen a lot. But I'm encouraged, always encouraged and inspired by what Tulsans give to make this community and to help this community solve its problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Savage, and I'm not surprised, but I do love that your can-do attitude and what you're doing in the community, and the fact that where a lot of people might see a lack of resources, you're resourceful and you're calling on your community partners. It's really, really neat to see. And one of our community partners is Celia Clinton. They're doing a great job of educating our students, and so we've partnered with them, and we have built a library for them, and every time we would have our speaker sign a book, and so we'd like to have you sign this very apropos book, How Do You Care for a Very Sick Bear? All right. So in closing, please remember that if you would like to be part of every Rotarian every year, if you'll fill this out, you have 3 ways to complete the process. One, and the one that I'm going to do so it doesn't sit on my desk again, is to hand it to one of the staff members, Tommy, Lynn, or Molly, when you leave, and we're going to bundle these all up and send them into Rotary International together so we can be part of that. The second way you can do it is you can take this home, and if you'd like to just insert your own check, you can mail it on your own. Or the third way, there's also a website on the back that you can do everything online, and it's a handy-dandy little process. So if you would like to be a part of what we're doing in the world, we would love to have you join us in this. And now, let's go change the world. Meeting is adjourned.